I'm going to go through, a bunch of really principles at AI Camp. You'll be a little bit surprised, like the way we do the teaching. I think I realized when I was teaching at AI Camp, that is, you really don't have to teach people from A to Z. You wanted to teach them things that they can take away and they can really apply, right? So one of the things that you have to really remember is, make sure that you are not teaching A to Z, but things that can open doors and transferable. So what I mean by that is, for example, remember deep learning, we have PyTorch, right? I was teaching PyTorch from A to Z, and then I quickly realized, oh my gosh, PyTorch, by the time these kids goes to college, PyTorch might not be relevant at all, right? So it's important to keep that in mind and teach the skill sets that are transferable. One thing you have to realize is forget about the fact that they're high school and middle school, just treat them as, a seed, right? Basically, you have this person who has immense amount of potential once you give the right nutrient and not constraint. So for example, when we create an AI product, why we wanted to do that? Because that's actually how startups creating stuff anyway. So if we help the students creating that, they're instantly hireable. So this is very important, very, very, very important. As a matter of fact, at any moment when you see our curriculum was, deviating away from this principle, you need to adhere to that and make changes to the curriculum. So it's never about teaching A to Z. It's never about leveling up, but it's about teaching them the right thing that can open doors and transfer. And so this also apply, in the sense that you want them to be able to be independent. So a lot of times, once you teach a little bit stuff, you don't want to go through A to Z. You want to tell them to do research and find resources and learn on their own. So it's really about a mindset change. Instead of spoon feed information to them, they need to be hunters to go out there and find those resources. Okay. One thing you want to keep on telling your students is, my job is for you to get rid of us. Okay, it's rude, it's blunt, it's on your face, but you know what? That's the best way to get that point across. You know that you are getting paid by how many students you're teaching, but you know what? Right now we're optimizing for students learning. We're not optimizing for the money that we can extract. You need to make sure, right? You're teaching them to be independent thinkers and learners, and not someone who's doing a cookie cutter stuff and imitating and not really thinking. Okay, so you see how this is different. Hugely important. Checking students' understanding at all times. So what does that mean? So it's really like you're not teaching 40 students, right? You're not doing the math class. You're teaching 6 of them. Okay, so this means that you need to basically reinforce certain rules in the classroom so that you can check their understanding. Just like right now, I'm looking at the screen here, this editor, but you are right now I'm looking at the camera, but it's actually, I'm looking at you right now because the panel is floating on the top. I'm trying to see, are you paying attention? Do you get what I'm saying? Do you have any questions? Right? It's almost like you have to look into their souls to see, are they getting it? Okay, are they with me? Are you engaged? Where are you at? Right? And you know what? This goes with managing people as well. When you become a manager, you will start discover that managing people is never about are you getting things done or not, but it's rather is about 360 degree to see where that person is. You guys know why we hired you guys, not only you're great at teaching, but also you're at the life stage where you would be very enthusiastic about doing this, right? Because this is almost like your first job. If you do it well, it becomes full-time. We change the education, right? And this is where you see understanding a student 360 degrees is really important. So this goes to several levels. So first of all, when start the class, it's really not about jumping to start right away. Okay, when start of the class is get personal, meaning, hey, how's your week? What have you been doing? Are you having enough food at home? How's your pet? What about your school? Like, what are you doing at school? Are you having fun? Are you stressed? Do you think school sucks or they're okay? Right? Do you miss your friends? Right? And just treat it as, you're their big sister, right? Because you want to understand where they are at, If they are at a point where it's like, oh, I'm stressed. Oh man, I'm tired. Oh man, I only got like 4 hours sleep. You're like, today's gonna be a shitty day, right? We know that, right? So because when you want to check their understanding, you want to make sure that, like you understand the underlying cause. That's about managing people, right? Like I tell my students, is like, like I bought a Tesla stock in 2013. I sold it right before I want to start AI camp. Instantly, they were like, "How much money you lost? How much money? Like we could use that money to buy chicken nuggets." Right?
Really?
All the time. They were like, we're gonna call you Dr. Chicken Nuggets because you lost so many chicken nuggets because you sold your Tesla stock. Like, you know what? These questions, they build these personal touch with you. And once again, it's about 360-degree understanding of a student. I mean, first of all, like I'm just me. I'm this person who is immensely interested to work with you. I'm excited today to work with you because you know what? I know I can connect with you. Like it's almost like cellular kind of connection. I know that because you guys are interested in teaching. You're the best instructors we have ever seen. We hired you guys, and I have 100% confidence we'll do a great job on that, which is why I can open myself up. So when you do teaching, open yourself up, show your vulnerability, show personal things, because you know what? It's about building relationship. It's really, really important because you want them to feel they can come here, say whatever the hell they want to say. So it's never about following the schedule. The schedule is a suggestive schedule. You have to basically say, oh, I think you got it. I think you do. We're trying it. I think you do. But certain times you'll see certain students that are behind. And you know what? Right at the beginning, it's really important to slow down and make sure they understand. So there are classroom situations. All right. So one is, slow plus fast all together. Okay. So in this case, what you need to do, right, is give the fast one challenge. I just say, like we're teaching, Python list, and Rohan, you did a great job. You understand this, but do you know about list comprehension? Do you know what's a generator? Right? And the students will be like, oh, wow, what is that? Right? They're going to go and find it out anyway. And they'll find it out. You know what? Once they find it out, give the fast one challenge, give the fast one leadership role. So here you have to be fast thinker, right? Because it's challenging, right? Like somebody's really fast. What are you going to do, right? You'd be like, okay, well, why don't you go ahead and research this? Why don't you find out and tell us? Right? So you have to play these games. It's almost like, someone's faster. Oh, okay, for the ones who did this, go ahead and, try the next problem. Okay, I'm going to help, the others. So you can say, hey, Rohan, why don't you go and learn about list generation? Once you learn that, why don't you teach us about list generation? You know why that's effective? Because not only you give this person a challenge, they would also come back with a reward. And they also show the other students, I can be independent learners. You suckers, you need, your instructors. I can be independent learners. And that would inspire everyone to be independent learners. Do you see that? Okay, so give the fast one challenge. Give the slow one-on-one treatment.
Mm-hmm.
Remember we are paying you guys 2 hours each week. I mean, yeah, right, for one class.
Right.
One of the things you need to think about is when in the beginning, especially in the beginning, you have ones that are slow. Or it could be like there's some like situations at home.
Mm-hmm.
It could be like they're so busy, right? But you know what? You want to give all the possibility for them to catch up. In the beginning, you want to give the one-on-one treatment. Literally reach out and say, hey, Eegan, I noticed that your Python list understanding can be strengthened. Do you have time this Sunday for us to work on this for 30 minutes and CC the parent? You know why this is something that they would appreciate? Because again, you build a personal relationship with the person, really try to understand, right? So, find out the personal situation, right? And really improve the student. And not improve only the skill set and boost confidence. Okay? And tell you what, these one-on-ones, you don't need to do too many times. You do it one time, you do it twice, these people will catch up. They will catch up if they really want to learn. Okay? And this is why you want to be personal, right? Get a personal, build a relationship, and also, right, let students to build relationships among themselves. Because once they do that, they would care about each person, and they would learn together. It's almost like army, like no one left behind. There's this scenario here. Someone who's not good at coding, maybe she's going to be great at design. Someone who's not good at coding, maybe she's going to be great at product management, communication writing. And we've seen that countless number of times. For example, this girl, Nicole, I call her the spiritual leader of AI camp. And because she's like the one that can group everyone together. Even though her coding is not great, but she just wanted to like get a taste of AI, right? So she's like learning all these things, and other folks are doing a lot of homework, and carry Nicole around. But you know what? She's the one that group everyone together, right? So you'll start seeing, the way we teach at AI Camp, it's almost like we only fail students when they don't try, right? And you know what? You will encounter students like that. And I would actually imagine your batches would be very challenging too, because during the time we did marketing, actually, hold on. No, your batch will be fine. Your batch will be fine. It's just like there are certain students that we put in, their parents sign them up, right? And we don't like those parents, we don't like those kids as well. So right now we're actually shifting around to only market to students, and then with their motivation, they will come and start learning. You can treat me as someone who can coach you. Like one of the things you should actually treat this whole experience is this is not only showing you how to build a company, teaching, but also how do you become a leader? How do you communicate, right? Because when you think about this, what we are talking about here, this is almost like the same as you're going to workplaces. Whether it's your colleague or your boss or your subordinate, you want to understand them 360, right? And you wanted to think about for their benefit, right? and advocate for their benefit. And that's how you grow a team, how you build a great culture. Okay. So when you think about, for example, when I was building 3 teams at Blend, I have 0 attrition. Like nobody in my team left the team for whatever reason, right? Even people who are genetically depressed, they stayed with us. So what I encourage you to understand this is don't treat this as, like merely, oh, I'm teaching, at AI camp. That's why I'm learning this. You most want to learn this is like you're training your future job as well. You're trying to build a type 4 culture. Type 4 culture. There are 4 types of culture. I'll send you the book. But there's one type of culture where we would feel that we're superior and we are united and we are moving in one direction. So I'll send you like basically like how these different organizations are built.
Mhm.
Be the biggest cheerleader
Mhm.
for your student, right? So you are almost like you wanted to celebrate whenever you can. Anatomy of a class. Start the class. Do you know what you're going to start with the class?
A personal connection.
Yep. Personal connection, right? Try to ask them about their everyday, talk about your life. You can spend as much as 15 minutes and 10 minutes on this. Okay? 10 minutes. Review homework and assignment. So this is going through basically, everything they have done. You know what? You want to ask the student to present. You don't present. Okay? You don't walk through. You know why? Because you wanna ask, hey, have you done this? Anybody did it? Right? And you're gonna always have a few people who are like, yes, I did it. Yes, I did it. Yes, I did it. Ask them to present, right? And they present, and you know what? You're gonna lead the whole classroom to clap for them. Right? You say, good job, wonderful. This is great, code. Vaishnavi, your code, is so clear, so organized. I wish, I can write code like that. Right? I wish, everybody can work, work code like that. Rohan, you're 12-year-old, you build neural nets. I don't think I've seen anyone, who's 12-year-old can do this. Rohan, why don't you go ahead and research about, generated models and write out some model about that. And he went ahead and he did that. He come back and we just, wow. Oh yeah, these kids, as I said, you don't treat them as a student, you treat them as seed that you spring water, put some soil, they're gonna blossom, right, into something that you never thought they are capable of. Okay, so 25 minutes and then lecture or hands-on. Okay, so that's gonna be like 30 minutes, something like that. Okay, roughly about 30 minutes. So altogether, you spend like 55 minutes already, right? Review content and assign homework. That's it, 5 minutes. So what we're trying to do here, right, is entirely go beyond, like a after school kind of program. We're trying to revamp how education can be done. Your job is, of course, ensure students understanding and not let them churn. But you know what? You will have churn. Okay? I encounter a situation like this. You ask a student, do you get it? Yes. Oh, do you need help? No. And then I was like, okay, all right, I'm gonna go for it. And then it's like, do you get it? Yes. Do you understand? No. And you look at it, it's like nothing. And then it's like, what the hell is going on? Can we schedule one-on-one? No show, right? And you know what? And you just come to the classroom, blank the video, and then you figure out, oh, he's here because his dad forced him to be here.
Oh.
Right? Once you understand that, you're like, that's not hopeful. Right? Because it's impossible to change the whole situation, but change his interest. Right? You can do one-on-one and try that, but what if no show and things like that. One of the things you wanted to be aware is this is approaching human physical limit. It's a long conversation, it's about an hour, it's a little bit too much. You want it to be like, just say, hey, we can talk offline, using Slack, but you know what, right now, get off your chair, go for some exercise, drink some water. Oh, the other thing, which is why I wanted to be less serious about the whole thing, is ask people to wear pajamas, drink juice, eat whatever, make comfortable, right? Making themselves extremely comfortable. You're checking for understanding all the time, right? And make sure they understand it and go with you. Okay, so that's the important piece. This is something we need to take care of you. Like basically when people are late or whatever, we're building tools, right? Tools to help instructors. Class reminder, right? So when the class is about to start, send SMS, send email, make sure they can. Okay, and also like send recordings to the student, right? So once you click recording, you can click and say that you can record on the cloud.
Right.
So we have the premium subscription for cloud storage.
Okay.
Right. So it's recording in the library. And remind them, it's like, hey, you need to come. Like, what happened? Or it's like, hey, I have another class. Maybe tomorrow, can you join that? Right. You wanted to basically encourage them to come, but you know what? The interest will actually fluctuate up and down. Okay. Now the important thing is use the project to motivate your student. Most of these kids, they have never created any product. But what if I tell you, hey, look, we wanted to. So for example, we have this group of people. They're creating this like recyclable versus not recyclable kind of AI detector, and you paint them a picture. You say like, what if we talk to Starbucks and we do this at Starbucks, and they'll be like, their eyes are lighting up, like, whoa, really? Right? We're gonna do this, and you know what? They're never gonna leave you. They will never leave you, right? They'll be like, yes, let's do it. And you know what? It doesn't really matter what's the hardship they have to go through. They're like, we're gonna do this, right? So you wanted to paint a picture, and paint the picture of the end product to your student. Do you realize I did the same thing to you?
Oh.
Do you realize that? I told you how AI can become. We ramped the education, and I'm not kidding. I'm really doing it. When we talk about the Starbucks, one, I'm not kidding. We're doing it. Okay. But you see how you can unite people. You don't unite people by me. No, right? Unite people by, okay, there's this goal that we all want to achieve. How can we get there? And we're gonna tell you the road is hard. Nothing's perfect. Can we get there? Right? And that's how you can unite people. Right? So use the project to motivate your students. Paint the picture of the end product to your student, right? A good one. Emotional one. Teach some skill and apply the skills right away. Teach the skills and apply skills right away. Right? So for example, when we just talked about Python, hey, now use this API and get data somewhere. And they'd be like, whoa, I can do that. I thought it's going to be like, some problem sets and all that. But they were like, oh, I can do that. Right? And then you talk about the project. What? We're going to work with Starbucks? Yes. Right? You'll see how these things can really motivate people. So one of the things that, like me and Richard are doing this right now is trying to figure all that process out. And you guys are, one of the few instructors that we have. So we need to figure that out together. And we have a few candidates that we interviewed. I think we're going to be good addition, to our instructor team. So we might bring them in as well. But for those instructors, you're basically sending an example for them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you this presentation here, you should actually go watch this. It's basically, I was just teaching about Python. The point is never really about teaching just the knowledge. It's not about that, because when you think about this, it's like you wanted to make sure you start the class with personal connection, make sure they're comfortable, understand that 360-degree, right? They're going to be review session, right? They're going to be basically one-on-one, maybe you can do after, right? And there are different classroom situations. There's this situation right here where I think there's one person, Rax, I think he showed up late, and I was have to like get him catch up while I'm taking care of the rest of the students. That was a challenging situation, right? But you're gonna have situations like this all the time. And then later on, I don't know if you know this, I actually I talk about this principle where you never compare yourself with anyone else, but with yourself yesterday, right? To see whether you're growing or not. And so one of the things I'm trying to get here is some people, they get stuff right away. Some people, they don't get stuff, right away. But you wanted to tell, the students, hey, look, it must be some of those guys, they have programming experience before. That's why they were able to get it so fast, right? So this again, right, goes back to the principle, right? Be the biggest cheerleader for your students. Identify where they are, boost their confidence, right? Identify where we are, boost their confidence. You need to slow down your talking, slow down, right? Check understanding. Don't, and then it's like, nobody understood, and then what happened, right? Slow down, talk a little bit. Okay, look at them. It's like, you get it, right? And you can also ask questions like, hey, give me thumbs up, thumbs down, in the middle, where you are, right? And they'll be like, oh, like here, oh, like here, right? And you bet, okay, oh, so let's slow down a little bit. What kind of questions you have? You can teach the whole class the plan away that ensure that they get it. The schedule doesn't mean, let me just put it bluntly, it doesn't mean shit. Okay, you need to make sure they understand the whole thing, and that's really, really important. So hands-on, it's always like they have notebooks open, right? It's like this. But when I'm teaching Python, there's this URL here.
Okay.
This is Python 1. This is probably myself. But then you see here is Pragya. See that? Yeah. So she's working on this along with us. Hands-on and hands-on. They got hands-on. They got any coding session, it's hands-on, right? And also you want to use in-classroom exercises to get them thinking, right? And check in gear, she's trying, And then here is Rex, right? Rex was slow, but he got it. Here's Michael, it's just me. Here's Agnes. The reason why we use this coding center is because it's real time. Real time. I know my students are trying this. And when they're like, oh, Michael, I got this problem. I don't know what's going on, why everything's red now. I'm trying to execute this and this just doesn't go anywhere. And what is going on here? I don't understand this. Okay. And then you can just say, hey, send me the link of your file in Slack, or you can find it, ask them to create that in their folder. And then you can open it up and you can instantly see what's going on. The reason why this is effective is you correct mistake with high frequency. And you want to emphasize the point. Hey, don't make one more mistake like that, right? But of course, it's like, kidding fashion, right? But, when you have that kind of high frequency feedback and at the point of mistake, that's where you learn. You see the difference, like why this is effective is because right there, right then, we will do it, right? And they will correct it and they will go forward. Okay, so this is why we were able to teach Python in 6 class, which is literally just 6 hours. It used to be just 4 hours, and Stanford has to teach them for a quarter. You see the difference here, right? So we're really, really efficient of what we do. This is why we hire you guys. I think you have notions and ideas like such. When you want to spend time and creating content, you need to talk to us first, because actually, like you've seen the Python one, right? The Python basics and stuff. There's basically a playbook already, but this is for you to go through it. You're going to use this to go through it. You have all these playbook already. And so these are for instructors. You don't want to share to your students. You can go through, so basically you go through them, right? But then there are ones where you wanted to give to students, for example, in the computer vision project, labeling data, this guy right here, you can see this is script to prepare all the label box data. And, you ask the students to build those things, right? But these are not field. So the idea is that you ask the students to fill the code here. Let me tell you this. Let me tell you give you some, expectations. You will feel overwhelmed. You will feel overwhelmed. First of all, taking care of 6 students with that much understanding, it's actually approaching human possible limit. You can't do more. Okay, that's first of all. Second is the technical requirement in working this product is not that simple. This is definitely not like a cookie cutter, a simple project, right? So on Friday, we need to actually go through and work on this product together. I think today is a good day. We went through these details. Hopefully you get a sense like what's the principle behind our teaching. There are still mechanics we have to go through, but you know what? We're gonna have time to go through it anyway. So the training I expect is gonna take about 6 hours. Right now we're hour 2, and then tomorrow we're gonna be hour 3. But then on Saturday, what we need to do is get together and meet the students and determine the schedule. So that's the time where each one of you will take a class. I'm just gonna assign students to you first, and you will figure out with the students the class schedule. Okay, so you basically find that in an hour everyone's available, and also so I'll do the welcome, but you will determine the schedule, and then the first class is teaching command lines. So that's in the learning center. Yeah, so we go one step at a time, and just be transparent. And I know that you are aligned with the mission, aligned with the culture values. So I'm not super worried about it. As long as you keep on checking, understand their lives 360, that's where you create leadership, you create this community and learning together. And never treat your students in middle school and high school, don't ever treat them like that. Treat them, as I said, a sparkling seed with immense potential if we teach them right. Some of the kids like, oh my gosh, we got this 12-year-old, as I said, building neural nets. We got Jackson, who's 18-year-old, writing professional level software. We have David, who's really, really smart. And these people, once you treat them like that, they will blossom, right? So make sure, don't ever think about, this is just another after school training agencies where, I think we're a little bit beyond that.